I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assumed were working on things like this. We have a new thing in LA called follow home robberies, where gang members stake out nice restaurants and then follow home the people who leave in expensive cars and force their way into their houses. That's why Paris Hilton now drives a 2009 PT Cruiser and eats a bar.
Back in the spotlight, Bill Maher takes aim at Gavin Newsom, blaming California's troubles on how it's been run. Karen Bass also gets caught in the crossfire. This isn't complaining, it's a sharp breakdown that slices past political showmanship. It's blunt, funny, and unforgiving. Hit subscribe, brace yourself, and let's begin. No filters, no excuses.
LA City Council voted that every homeless tent had to be removed from dozens of locations, yet every freeway overpass still looks like history's saddest Coachella. The homeless are both preyed upon and, frankly, a concern that they will do God knows what. You go out for a run in your neighborhood and you have to wonder whether that guy eyeing you on the corner is going to be this guy or this guy.
Maher opens by calling out the growing homelessness crisis across Los Angeles and other major California cities. He points to a clear contradiction. City leaders, especially in LA, have approved clearing encampments from streets and highways, yet the situation keeps sliding downhill. Tents disappear from one block only to pop up on the next. Maher raises a straightforward question. If these methods are working, why do the numbers keep climbing? That leads him straight to Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. Newsom's strategy on homelessness comes under fire for leaning heavily on massive spending, catchy slogans, and constant media appearances, while real progress remains scarce. Billions of dollars have flowed into loosely monitored programs as everyday Californians watch their neighborhoods unravel. Maher's frustration reflects what many residents feel, a mix of compassion and disorder. In his view, good intentions don't count if conditions keep getting worse. Even more troubling, he argues, is that state leaders continue to dodge accountability instead of offering real answers.
A day doesn't go by where you can't find video of the latest smash and grab robbery where thieves in broad daylight just smash the front windows of ritzy stores and take all the jewelry they can carry. They went to Jared.
California's largest cities are seeing crime and theft climb, and critics argue this shift didn't happen overnight. Maher points to recent leadership decisions as the spark. In his view, the state now sends a message that goes easy on criminals while everyday safety takes a backseat. Thieves clear shelves as shoppers walk away, and repeat offenders cycle through the system facing little more than token consequences. When punishment feels optional, deterrence disappears. Maher pushes back against the claim that lighter penalties reduce crime, arguing the opposite has played out. As stores shut down and neighborhoods feel less secure, it's law-abiding Californians who pay the price. To him, compassion without firm rules creates space for disorder to spread. When leaders blur the line between mercy and justice, stability quickly erodes.
And when did they legalize shoplifting? There used to be shame in shoplifting, or at least some skill. Now criminals just brazenly walk out of Walgreens, again in broad daylight, with a trash bag full of aisle 3, while the security guard just watches. They have to keep even the most mundane products all caged up. CVS isn't a store, it's a zoo for teeth whitening strips.
Maher traces much of this problem to California's decision to downgrade theft under $1,000 from a felony to a misdemeanor. The goal was to ease crowded jails and focus on violent offenses. But Maher says the results are hard to ignore. Once criminals realized the consequences were minimal, organized shoplifting surged, especially at major retailers. Viral videos of bold, consequence-free theft reinforced the idea that enforcement had lost its edge. Stores responded by locking up everyday items, soap, toothpaste, even basic food, behind glass. Now regular customers wait for help just to buy essentials. For Maher, this is clear evidence of a broken approach. Honest people face more hurdles, while repeat offenders operate with near total freedom.
San Francisco in the last few years has seen 11 Walgreens and 6 CVS stores just give up and close because that town seems simply beyond law, which is heartbreaking because I, like so many people, love that city, and I don't think it's corny to admit, yes, I left my heart in San Francisco. Also my wallet and iPhone.
Maher's criticism doesn't stop with poverty-related issues. He widens the focus to everyday safety concerns that now weigh on many Californians, especially when it comes to cars and personal property. His examples strike a nerve. You step away from your vehicle for a short walk, come back, and whatever was inside is gone. Maher notes that this wasn't always normal. Smash-and-grab break-ins and car thefts have surged, turning simple errands into risky outings. Los Angeles has long ranked among the state's burglary hotspots, with tens of thousands of vehicle thefts reported each year. San Francisco, too, built a reputation for widespread break-ins, even though recent reports suggest a decline. Maher uses these figures to show how residents feel stuck between rising crime and scattered, ineffective responses from state and city leaders.
Bay Area citizens have been complaining in recent years about all the human feces in the streets, but now the streets are full of something else. They call it San Francisco snow. It's glass, piles and piles of shattered glass everywhere from car windows being smashed. It's so routine to have this happen to any parked car that people purposefully leave the windows down and the glove compartment open so thieves can see there's nothing of value. Or they leave a note on the car politely assuring the thief that there's nothing worth stealing and please don't break the windows.
In parts of the Bay Area, the situation has grown so extreme that drivers leave handwritten notes telling thieves there's nothing worth taking inside. It's a last-ditch effort to save a window from being smashed. Maher points to this as pure public frustration. Instead of expecting protection, people are forced to adjust. Some even leave car windows slightly open, not out of carelessness, but exhaustion from paying again and again for broken glass. Maher argues this is what happens when laws are created without thinking through real-world effects and when leadership loses touch with daily life. When safety fades, people stop trusting institutions and start figuring out how to get by on their own. At that stage, the system looks overwhelmed, always reacting, and unable to handle the scale of the problem.
What is so disturbing here is not just that there's more crime and mayhem, it's the audacity of it all. Like there's no lines anymore that can't be crossed. Like don't walk on a stage during a live show. Or don't Mike Tyson.
Maher warns that California may be nearing a dangerous turning point, one where people start believing they can get away with almost anything because consequences feel weak or absent. When rules lose their force, behavior shifts. Acts that once seemed unthinkable now happen openly, often recorded in daylight with no fear of fallout. This leaves everyday Californians stuck with a mix of anger and helplessness. They follow the rules, pay their taxes, and do what's expected. Yet they're the ones facing risk and disruption. Meanwhile, those who cross the line feel encouraged, confident the system won't step in. Maher frames this not as a failure of character among residents, but as a failure of leadership. When enforcement feels optional, respect for the law fades, and once that happens, restoring order becomes far harder than preventing the slide in the first place.
It's also, yes, undeniably true that LA is built in a stupid place to build a city. But when it's not on fire, it's really quite lovely. And it's my home. And stupid as its origin may be, it's not going anywhere. Axios ran a story on how getting the water out of the hydrants in Pacific Palisades was more complicated than it seems. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's very complicated. That's why I pay 13% of my income in this state every year to people who I assume were working on things like this.
He also takes aim at what he sees as a major imbalance between what Californians pay and what they receive in return. The state has some of the highest taxes in the nation, yet Maher argues the payoff is underwhelming. With that level of funding, basic services should run smoothly, but too often, they don't. He points to the state's ongoing wildfire struggles as a clear example. Year after year, fires tear through familiar communities, and residents watch the same issues repeat themselves. Weak preparation, slow responses, and action that comes only after damage is done. For Maher, this goes beyond natural disasters. It reflects poor leadership. He questions how a state overflowing with tax revenue can seem so unready, leaving people feeling like they're funding a system that fails when it matters most.
When asked why so many of the hydrants in the Palisades ran out of water, Governor Newsom said the local folks are trying to figure that out. Yeah, you gotta do that before the fire. At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the 3 reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed. LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years. Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2011.
What truly pushes Maher and many Californians over the edge is the constant threat of wildfires. Year after year, massive blazes wipe out homes, jobs, and entire neighborhoods. Maher argues that leaders like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass should have learned something by now and taken real steps to prevent the next disaster. Instead, the pattern never changes. Warnings go ignored, preparation falls short, and explanations arrive only after the damage is done. His frustration isn't aimed at nature, but at leadership that refuses to adjust. The same ideas, stronger infrastructure, controlled burns, better forest care, come up after every fire, yet little happens before the next one erupts. Maher says it wouldn't surprise him if the same tired excuses surface again after another major blaze. For residents, this cycle has become costly, exhausting, and far too familiar. Maher believes his tough criticism is justified. Across California, problems seem to grow worse each year. From Los Angeles streets to Bay Area neighborhoods, cities rush to clear encampments without fixing the root causes of homelessness, leaving people frustrated and stuck. Laws meant to show compassion but rarely enforced have fueled theft and crime, forcing stores to lock up basic items and residents to take extra steps just to protect their belongings. Handwritten notes on car windows and cracked open glass have become signs of daily survival. Then there are the wildfires, annual emergencies made more dangerous by poor planning and slow responses. Maher's conclusion is blunt. Californians pay some of the highest taxes in the country, yet too often end up with a system that fails to protect or serve them. His message captures a shared feeling of anger, exhaustion, and helplessness. Direct, unfiltered, and hard to dismiss. That wraps up today's video. If you want more content like this, hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.